In this video, we're going to talk primarily about Ratchet, or the basic Ratchet slackline systems. Like we touched on with the primitive systems, we're going to talk about how it's constructed, how it's built, starting from the static side anchor, webbing deployment, to tension side and tensioning. All right. So to start, typical Ratchet systems generally come with a ratchet with a sling, and then a piece of webbing with a sewn loop at the end. And what that's intended for is to create a girth hitch at the static side and tension side for your connection points, okay? And it's a slightly different connection than the primitive, and there's certain precautions that we need to take in terms of tree protection as well, and we'll kind of get into that in the tree pro section. But to start, we go ahead and deploy our webbing, just kind of throw it out, make sure it's untangled, and go ahead and wrap it around the trees so you're about to girth hitch it, okay? Once you've kind of cinched it down a little bit around the tree, you want to make sure to pinch the webbing right where it runs through the girth hitch, so that when it extends out to the rest of the line, it actually stays flat. If you don't pinch it and don't hold it upright, you can get twists and bends and stuff like that that kind of take away from the overall aesthetics and the overall experience. So it's just one little trick that's important to know about for girth hitches for these slackline systems. So once you've created that, you can then deploy the webbing out to your tension side anchor, and then connect your ratchet system with the sling to the tree that you've selected in the same manner as the static side anchor. Okay, so using the girth hitch method and then pinching it so that you have a nice flat piece of webbing once it's all tensioned and you're ready to walk on it. Once you've slung it, you're then going to feed your webbing into the ratchet and make sure that the handle is facing downwards. Because it just makes it a lot easier to tension, and that's the way these slacklines were designed, is for that particular orientation. And then you can start tensioning with the ratchet. Okay, take as much slack out as you can before you start pulling tension, and then start cranking the ratchet down. And then you can determine exactly what kind of tension you want, whether it's loose, tight, whatever. Most people start off with tight and then go looser. That seems to be the trend. Whether or not it's better, it's personal preference. But anyways, you can set it up however you want, but once it's rigged, you always want to make sure that the locking mechanism on the ratchet is securely set. You know, there's a little locking, instruction on it, and also on the user's manual too, so it's really important to make sure that that is locked before you start doing anything on the slackline. And then you also want to make sure that you back up the tension side webbing, because this is where you're actually the only spot where you're going to have a tail, and the only spot that you can actually back up the webbing. So simply, just like in the primitive systems, just go ahead and wrap it around the tree, and you can tie the webbing to itself using a bowline. Okay, so those are the basics for ratchet systems. These are super common. They're very available in a lot of retailers. But the unfortunate thing is, like, once you start getting into bigger, bolder slacklines, we move away from 2-inch, like what these are built with, and go more primarily towards 1-inch webbing. Okay. So again, we covered static side anchors, webbing deployment, creating your tension side anchor, tensioning, and doing the appropriate backups for a ratchet slackline system.